Thousands of power outages, structures and businesses significantly damaged, downed trees, knocking down power lines, obstructing roads, emergency responders, utility crews, and officials working hard to facilitate the recovery process. Here to discuss the situation is New Jersey Governor Mikie Sherrill. Governor Sherrill, thank you so much for the time to chat with me today.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So power outages, they're down significantly across the state, which is a great thing. But for many people in Morris and Sussex counties up in North Jersey, it's now day 5 without electricity. How close are response crews to getting everyone back online? And does this storm exposure maybe give us an insight on some of the bigger issues with North Jersey's power grid?
Sure. So we still have too many people without power. Anyone at this point without power from the storm, it's unacceptable. So we've got to continue to get people hooked up. In fact, as of last Wednesday, we had our emergency response teams open because that's when we started to hear about the horrible heat wave coming in. We saw incredible microbursts. Thunderstorms were predicted, but not the microburst, 85-mile-per-hour winds. And as you saw from some of those pictures you had up, these were not old trees falling into power lines. These were healthy trees taking down power lines, taking down rail systems. And it really does show how old our grid is and how much we really need to update resiliency. For decades, we just haven't put enough into our infrastructure here. So I signed 3 pieces of legislation yesterday to start to do just that.
Absolutely. I mean, hundreds of trees came down across the state, and you're right, many of them healthy trees. It's left many homeowners, too, with the expensive cleanup bills. Is the state considering any financial assistance to help cover those costs?
So we're working closely right now. As I said, we've been in touch with hundreds of municipalities. I've been on the ground in Camden and Monmouth and Morris counties, and we're continuing to engage with our emergency management teams to see what resources different areas will need, and then continuing to push on these utility companies. We've had about 3,500 different people coming in from out of state to help with mutual aid. We had to call up into Canada because the 4th of July weekend. I've stayed on them. And then we will work closely with the emergency management teams. Like, for example, unfortunately, we had a roof cave in on a BJ. So we sent our K-9 unit in to make sure everyone was cleared from the area. And we saw some great first responder support down in Ocean Township.
Yeah, what a blessing that no one was injured or killed in that roof collapse down in Ocean Township. Governor, New Jersey Transit has restored most of its rail service, but even outside of the storms, the heat, too, exposed some vulnerability to the rail service. I think I'm a Jersey resident all my life, so I know New Jersey Transit well. Do you know, do you have any idea to when service could be fully restored, and any insight on the changes that maybe need to be made to the system to become more resilient to this extreme weather we've been facing?
This is a long-running issue, as you know, as a New Jerseyan, that I've been really frustrated by. In Congress, I got about $300 million into some of the catenary repair that we need here in the Northeast. We have the most densely populated state and some of the most dense rail infrastructure. I fought hard for Gateway Tunnel project, but to your point on the heat, we need constant tension wires on those catenary wires. They sag in the heat, they break, and then we see power outages. We've cleared most of the trees from just about all of the rail system. There are still some portions, some small portions that we're addressing. Most of that's open. And then for all of those people who are wondering about the FIFA World Cup final, which we are hosting here, those rail systems are up and running, and still the most efficient, effective way in and out of the stadium is that New Jersey Transit rail line.
Absolutely. I want to talk about that heat again. I mean, my goodness, New Jersey, from heat to storms to flooding, we've just been impacted big time by Mother Nature this summer. But sadly, this heat wave, at least 29 people in New Jersey are believed to have died from this recent extreme heat. Is there anything that the state can do more to prevent that kind of loss of life during future heat waves? I mean, we still have late July, August ahead of us.
So like I said, we opened up the emergency response last Wednesday because we saw this heat coming in. And I think part of what I was concerned about, because maybe I even had this thought at first when I heard we were getting a heat wave, sort of this, oh, we have a heat wave every summer now. This was different. This was the worst heat we've seen in about 14 years, about 110 effective heat along the I-95 corridor, of course, all coming during the 4th of July weekend. So we were really concerned. That's when we started all of our outreach. I held a press conference to alert people to how dangerous this could be if you did not take it seriously. We had our Department of Health on as well to give people tips about staying hydrated, staying in the shade. And we're tracking it really closely, which is, I think we have some of the best reporting because we alerted all of our hospitals on what was going on. So we could track that closely and come up with better and better ways of serving the people of New Jersey.
So you've opened this hotline for families that are maybe listening in still in New Jersey who are picking up from the storms or still waiting for the power to turn back on and are worried that if the heat builds again, we lose power. What does that mean for us? What do you say to the families and the businesses that are still trying to recover and know that the summer is still quite long ahead of us?
So we're making sure we're taking steps to build a more resilient grid. What I did yesterday, the pieces of legislation I was signing, would hold the public utility companies, the grid operator PJM, as well as data centers accountable. Because as I mentioned, for decades, really, there's been an underinvestment in our grid. And when those investments were made, they weren't always the investments that were going to have the most impact on ratepayers. So what we've seen over time here in New Jersey is all the shareholders to the companies make a lot of money. New Jersey ratepayers keep paying more money, and yet we still have some of the oldest grid infrastructure. So I'm providing oversight here to make sure those updates go where they need to go, that they're done in the most efficient way. And these new technologies I'm going to ensure people use are actually going to provide lower costs to ratepayers. Because of all the work we've done on our utility infrastructure and the work that the legislation we've set in place to go forward and create more resiliency, we are anticipating from an independent study that New Jerseyans will save about $1 billion in the changes we've made so far, and we're not finished yet.
All right. Well, we are Jersey strong, I can tell you that. And after this week of heat and storms and flooding rain, we will continue to get through stronger. I appreciate your time coming on to Fox Weather here. Governor Mikie Sherrill, hope you enjoy the rest of your week.
Well, thank you so much. I always love talking to a Jersey girl, so I appreciate it and have a great one.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
Thanks.